What's up, guys? It's Missy. I'm back with another SimCity Build video, and today this is going to be a updated group rules video, and we're gonna briefly touch base on what it is that our group is mainly focused on and how you can get in touch with me. Now, I don't have very many subscribers yet. I'm like 500 or something, and to be honest with you, my goal actually wasn't to go necessarily like viral with the SimCity or anything. I I have now decided to make a Facebook group instead of doing Discord because it's so much easier for for me to interact with people on Facebook. A lot more people have Facebook, and Discord was having some technical difficulties with like booting people. So do not go to our Discord. Okay, Discord is not being used at all. So if you are trying to get in touch with me, you will have to do it through Facebook. Now, also be patient because not only have I've been really, really, really busy, I run more things than just the SimCity Building group. I run a crime page for the city of Marysville, Washington. I run missing persons for Washington State. I run a lot of things. So SimCity is something that I've been running a group on SimCity for quite some time now, and I know a lot of people that they just come in, they drop in, they're like, "Hey, Missy, what's going on?" I've talked to them on, I've made some friends on here, through Instagram and things like that. City life. No, I didn't do anything wrong. I don't think. Fuck, wouldn't surprise me. You guys, you don't even know. I got a story for you guys about that. Being ambushed for something you didn't do. Oh, that's good times. Okay. Anyways, so group rules. Okay. First thing is, if you want to join us on Facebook, type in SimCity Build It MissyAnne.YT. You will see the background that is on my YouTube channel on the Facebook cover photo. Go ahead and put in a member request and we will try to get you approved. Keep in mind, and this goes for if you're in my group, this goes for if you're in the Facebook group or in the comments section of YouTube. If you ask a question that is directed at me and you are in my group or anywhere for that matter, and you get an answer that is not from me, proceed with caution, okay? I cannot control what other people tell you, and I cannot vouch for what they're saying that it is true. If you watch my videos and you see an hour-long video of me talking about something and explaining to you that the contest of mayors is not all luck, and then you come into my group and you start talking about your assignments and somebody speaks up and says, well, it's all luck, they're contradicting what I'm teaching you and telling you. And what you choose to believe is totally up to you, okay? But I will say this. Every single person on this planet is not perfect. We've all made mistakes. I've made my mistakes and I paid for them greatly, okay? And I've learned from my mistakes. Now, when it comes to giving advice, unless it's something that has changed within the game recently, like how we recently lost the personal rewards section of the SimCity Build It War feature. Things like that is stuff that you will see that may have been said incorrectly or maybe doesn't apply now, right? So you have to look at when the video was made and what was going on in the game at that time. If you see that somebody says it was 600 storage, but the video was posted 5 years ago, and you're like, no, it's 700 storage. Well, yeah, because that's what was going on in the game back then, right? Now, there's been a couple videos where I've made a few mistakes when I have mentioned buying the Maxis at level 18. My dumbass wasn't thinking that you don't have it unlocked until level 22. So I corrected that mistake in another video, right? But for the most part, I'm pretty on top of it. When it comes to level unlocks, I don't have them memorized in my head. Sometimes I have to pull them up, print them out, and reference them when I'm making the video. So those are the types of things that might be, incorrect at the time, and I'll later fix it, okay? if you're in my group and we're conversating and a mistake has been made, I will come back to you and tell you a mistake has been made and inform everybody of the accurate answer. Because that's the whole point in my teaching you guys, is to give you the right answer. If you're getting an answer from somebody else, I don't care where it is, if it's on Facebook, if it's on YouTube, if it's in my group, just because somebody's in my group does not mean they agree with me, and it does not mean that what they're saying is fact. Okay? Now, I know that a lot of people have the perspective that it would, how do I explain this? If I have members within my group that are VPs or whatever, you would think that, being how I have so much knowledge on the game, that they would be giving you a correct answer, right? Because you would kind of reflect on me and my group and and whatnot. But that's not always the case. So just know that if you're getting an answer from somebody but me, it might not be most of the time, I'm going to tell you, 9 times out of 10, it's not something that I would have told you. I would have told you otherwise. Now, what ends up happening is people come into the game chat, they ask me a question specifically, and then other people answer that question, right? Which I'm all fine with. I don't care if you answer the question. But if you're answering it incorrectly, and then now I'm not only trying to explain to you why your answer is incorrect, but trying to explain to them the answer to their question, right? And so it makes the whole thing just a mess, okay? Now, you don't have to agree with me, but there's some things that are not up for really debate at all. It's like, that's just the way it is. The sky is blue, it's blue. I don't know what to tell you, okay? But you can choose to believe whomever you want to, but the best thing that you can do is to investigate it yourself. Look at the results, okay? Look at what's the advice that's being given to you, and look at it from a logical perspective. Are you going to take advice from somebody who's been playing for 5 years, has a beautiful city, has made a ton of mistakes, and knows, hey, this is what's going to go down, and can explain to you and break it down to you why things are the way they are? Or are you just going to go off somebody's conspiracy theory? That's totally up to you what you choose. Now, I can sit here and I can argue with everybody that comes through the door of my club that you can run a 2K average every single week, and that the tasks for the contest of mayors are not based on luck, okay? It's not just luck. And I have fought with many people about this, and every single one of them has said the same damn thing. And they're all going to stand behind me today and tell you the same thing I'm telling you right now. It's not based on luck. I have screenshots to prove it, okay? I have proven it to people time and time again. And you will see every single week. And like I said, I have people that have been in my group for years. They'll come up to me and they'll be like, it's all based on luck. And I'm like, really? So I'm running a 2K average every single week. I just get lucky every single week? Come on now. Really? And then you start noticing other people in the group, and they do it too. And you're the only one that's not, because you're the only one that's not paying attention and changing the way that you're choosing your assignments. I don't care if you've played the game for 10 years. I don't even know how long it's been out. But I don't care how long you've been playing the game. Just because you've been playing the game a long time does not mean that you know what you're doing. If you've been playing the game that long and you have a city that looks like you've been playing for a year, or you have half the storage, or you've had to make 20 feeder cities to get half of the storage capacity, then you need to ask yourself what the hell you're doing wrong, because that is not right. If I can write up a guide and get you guys to surpass 7 years of gameplay in a couple of months, what the hell is going on, right? Why is it that one player can use one city at level 1 to 24, and in 3 months' time accomplish everything within the Missy's Building Guide and hit max storage with no feeder? But then other people, right, they need 4 feeders just to get half the storage capacity in years. Like, I'm not understanding here. You know what I mean? So it's based off the choices that you're making. Just because you play the game, one way doesn't mean that everybody else is going to play that same way. But there's a right way to do things and a wrong way. You might pick whatever way you want to do them, but there's still a right and a wrong way. Okay. And it's all based on how you want to spend your time with what you want to accomplish. Now, when you join my group, I expect people to be active. I expect people to be respectful, And what I mean by that is you don't just join in and camp and sit and lurk and never talk, never help, never fill requests. We had people that would just sit there and they would only jump in for rare trades. They didn't want anything else. The only time they ever spoke was for rare trades. Or they jump in, they don't want to be social. They don't want to fill requests. They only want to talk when they can't find something. And they put up a shit ton of mayor's points. No, I don't care. I don't care how many points you put up. Okay. Yes, it's great. Yes, I'm glad you're contributing to the club. But if I have to make that exception for you, then I have to make it for everybody. And if I made that exception for everybody, then we wouldn't have anybody active in the group. So how can I sit here and complain to 23 other people about how they need to be more active, right, in chat, and then they come up with why is so-and-so never in active in chat? And I'm like, well, they put up a lot of points. So do I. Yeah, exactly. No, the rules apply to everybody. Okay, you got to be active. You got to be helpful, and you got to be, helping people out. Now, are you required to give people all your items? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But it would be nice if you could help fill requests when you are on, and at least if you're on, jump up and be like, hey, anybody on? Do you need anything? Even if you're only on for a few minutes, just get the chat moving and talking, and respectful, right? So we had an incident last week, and I'm going to talk about it here in a minute, but I want to get through these group rules, and I'm going to get through them quickly. I've done detailed group rules videos where I explain why we have the rules that we have, and I don't want this video to be that long when it comes to explaining that, because many of you have heard that, right? So these are the rules. These rules do not change. You are not an exception to these rules. All the rules have to be followed. If the rules are not followed, you're out, okay? I've been playing this game way too long to put up with this shit anymore. I want trading to be easy and simple. I know exactly how trading in this game works, and I know how it falls apart. And if things aren't done this way, that's exactly what's going to happen. It's going to be total chaos. You're going to have people bitching about stuff being taken and gone to global, and it's a mess, okay? And I'm not kidding you. All I have to do is leave the game for a day or two and put in a bunch of people that don't follow the rules, and I'm not kidding you. Like clockwork, every one of my VPs is messaging me going, Missy, come back. I can't deal with this shit. Yeah, exactly. All right, first rule. Always say the amount when you're asking for items. This is crucial. If you ask for items in my group, I don't care if you need 600 of that item, and you don't say exactly how many you want, I'm not helping you. I'm not posting anything for you, and the first thing that you're going to see from me is probably all in caps. I'm going to say amount, like, hello, tell me how many you need. And if I get a response like, if I get a response that is any amount or as many as you have, no, that is not a response, okay? That is not a good way to trade. When you don't say the amount, the first thing that people think is, well, okay, I got like 40 of them, I don't really want to sell them all. I don't know if he really needs 40. When he says he needs a lot, is a lot 10 or is a lot 200? They don't know. So they're just like trying to think in their head what it is that you need. And then it would have just been easier if you would have just said the amount. Then you have, okay, so then you post it, right? And so you're like, okay, cool. So then they ask again in the chat right after you posted 10 of them. And you're like, well, I had more, like, how many do you need? And they're like, any. It's like, oh my God. Okay. So then you got other people. They have stuff too. Maybe we all have the item that you're looking for, but they don't know what to put up because they're just like, well, does he need more? I don't know. And because you haven't asked again, they just assume you got what you needed. So it just is a whole big head fuck of assumptions. Okay. If you are like, well, I have a shipment coming in and I don't know how many are going to be needed for that shipment, right? Say that. Say, I have a shipment coming in and it's asking for paint. Okay. And I'm going to be like, okay, well, that makes sense. So I know it's going to be probably at least 3 or 4, but it's not going to be over 8. You can pretty much get a well-rounded number or an idea. And you can say, okay, cool, I'll give you this many or whatever, right? So that is one of the number one rules, is saying the amount. All right. That's, oh my God, dude. If ever you wanted to Wreck-It Ralph your fucking phone, if you haven't seen the movie, he just breaks shit with his hands, dude. I could just literally smash my phone like you wouldn't believe, okay? When people do that shit. So say the amount and Missy won't Wreck-It Ralph her phone. Got it? Cool. All right, next rule. Do not post rare items for sale unless the person is at your depot, okay? If you are trading with somebody and me and you are trading, doing a rare trade, I'm going to use the abbreviations, and I've said these before, okay? And it's going to be, let me know when you're here, right? You're going to see that all the time in my group. If you don't watch this video, you're not going to know what that means when you get here, okay? If I'm trading with CPT and I'm giving him 5 storage locks for 5 dozer wheels, and I post them for sale before he's at my city, and he goes AFK, they're just going to be sitting in my depot. If I have items on the global market, or I accidentally advertise them, they're going to get taken immediately, right? If I have the group open and there's somebody within the group that I don't know yet and I don't trust, they could come in and just buy it because it's just sitting there to be bought, right? So it's just easier, and you can guarantee that they're going to get their items if they're at your depot when you post them. Now, what people will do is they get theirs posted, and then the other person assumes that they're on their way, and they post without the person saying that they were here. Do not do that. Do not post until the person says they are there. So many times people get phone calls, their game crashes. A lot of times people's games crash when they come to my city because I have so much crap in my city. If that happens to you, click on the city, okay? You're going to click my name. That's not my name. You're going to click my name. And right here, you see cities. Okay. You're going to click the airplane and go to one of my regional maps that is less clogged up with stuff. So you should be able to load it better. Okay. Now, once you tell me you're here, I'm going to post items for you. Now, oftentimes, people will be nice and they'll post an extra one. And you had already went back to your city and they're like, you forgot something. So typically what I do, and also keep in mind, you have to open and close the depot repeatedly. Otherwise, it will not refresh. If you're just sitting there with it open, it's not going to refresh, okay? So open, close until you see it. Do not leave that person's city until they say up. Well, that's usually what I do. Now, this isn't necessarily something that you have to follow, this part, the whole saying up thing, but typically that's what I do. I always say up once it's up. That way they know that I'm not posting anymore, because it is really common for people to post extras. And then you have to travel back, right? So Also, when you're doing a rare trade, let's say that me and Chronic are talking and, I say, okay, I have Dozer and I'm looking for storage. Okay. And Chronic jumps in. She's like, okay, Missy, I'm looking for, 12 wheels and I'll give you 12 cameras. And I'm like, cool. And then so-and-so jumps in and they're like, I'll give you this for this. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then somebody else jumps in. And the next thing you know, so-and-so's at your depot. So Chronic she hasn't got here yet, but the other person's here, right? And so I traded with him. And now I don't have enough to trade with her or whatever. And now we have too many things going on at once. So it's first come, first serve, right? Because I talked to Chronic first, I'm going to get her taken care of first. Once she's done, she's taken care of and all is good, then I'm going to move on to the second person and then so on, right? Another thing that people do is they jump in on a trade that is in front of you, right? So let's say that me and Chronic had made the deal, and I've seen people do this, okay, many times. Chronic says, okay, Missy, I have 12 wheels and I want to trade you 12 cameras, or whatever it is, vice versa, it doesn't matter. And she disappears from the chat for like a minute or 2 minutes, not even that long, okay? And then somebody comes in and you trade with that somebody. And then she comes back and you've already traded with somebody else. That's rude as hell, okay? Now, if they've been AFK for a while and stuff, yeah, then that makes sense. But if you know that the person is pretty, reliable when it comes to trading and stuff, then it would stand to reason that you would want to, if you made a deal with them, especially like if you made a deal for later. If I said, okay, I'm busy right now, but when I get back, can we trade for those storage? Because I really need them to upgrade. And you tell me, yeah, we can do that. And I come back and you've traded them off and you had already made that deal with me. I take that as disrespectful, right? That is rude. Just use common sense, okay? Now, when it comes to repeatedly asking for something, oftentimes people will blow up the chat. They'll say, 2 corn. Nobody responds. They're 2 corn again, and nobody responds. If we don't respond, it means we don't have it. We don't necessarily acknowledge when we don't have something. Now, sometimes we do, sometimes we don't, especially if there's a lot of people online. Sometimes I'll say, you know what, I don't have any, but I'm looking for some, or I'm making some, or whatever. Or I don't know about everybody else, but I always try to remember what people need. If I seen that you asked for something a while ago, I'm going to ask you if you still need it. And if you say yes, then great. I'm not going to post it until you answer me that you still need it, right? If you repeatedly ask for something in the chat, that is extremely annoying, especially when I can see the same request like 10 times within the same screen, like scrolling once or twice. That's ridiculous. I had people that would come in and they'd ask people individually, So if they were looking for a bread roll, for example, they'd say, anybody have a bread roll? Anybody have a bread roll? And nobody would answer. And then somebody would join in a minute later into the chat and they're like, hey, Chronic, do you have a bread roll? No. Hey, Missy, do you have a bread roll? It's like, oh my God, dude, I'm going to shove this roll down your fucking throat. That's what's going to happen. So shut the hell up. Okay? You're annoying me. Now, if you're not annoying and you have common sense, then join my group. Now, let's get on to the next part, okay? So you know what the abbreviations mean, you know to say the amount, and you know to be there when posting rares. They're all pretty simple rules, really. We're really not that strict on rules. We don't have a minimum point, value that you have to get in war or the contest of mayors or anything like that. You just have to be active and participate and be respectful. If you see people conversating about stuff that is not within the game, that's very common that people conversate and socialize. I had a guy that was pissy about it. He wanted people to only talk about the game. Well, sorry, dude. Don't work that way. You don't like it? Leave. I don't know what to tell you. People socialize, they interact, and they get to know each other. But if you see me or anybody for that matter conversating within the chat and you need something, I know a lot of people will be quiet because they don't want to interrupt the conversation. And that is absolutely not necessary. You can interrupt that conversation at all times because we're all in the same chat, and I do not expect anybody to sit there patiently waiting to ask for something at all. That is not what I would expect from anybody. If you need something, say something. Don't wait for people to be done talking, okay? Depots are not storage facilities. All depots in my group are open. If you post something for sale in your depot and if it's something that somebody requested in the chat room and it was longer than 15 minutes ago, it's up for grabs, okay? You'll see UFG, that's up for grabs, okay? COM, Contest of Mayors is what that means. LMC, let me check, okay? Now, if you're posting stuff in your depot and you don't want people to buy it, don't post it. It's that simple. Because when the doors open to the group, people come and go, okay? If you're posting things, you post them for max usually. You can post your items for whatever price you feel necessary. If you want to post them for max, post them for max. If you want to post them for a penny, post them for a penny, okay? You're not expected to post anything for any specific price. However, there is one thing that I always tell people, and that is think for your team first. We are all on a team here. We're supposed to help each other out, okay? And what I mean by that is this. If you come across items that you know high-level players would need, like, let's say I'm a low-level player, right? And I find melons or glue or cement on Global. I would post it for high-level players because I know that they can make decent money making gnomes and that they need melons for pink drinks, right? Now, me as a level 18 player, it's not beneficial for me to make melons or to buy them. So think for the other players in your group. You know, if you know the Contest of Mayors is starting, don't global a bunch of nails. Offer them to your group, you know, say full depot. If you're using the emojis, remember that you can't type and use the emojis within the same message. So it's frustrating because people will put the emojis up and then after they put them up, they say in my depot, or they put like a picture of the storage facility, which is alerting people that that's what they have for sale in their depot. But at first you think they're asking for it, right? So usually what I do is I say full depot, or I'll say decent items up, but don't wipe out my depot because they're meant for everybody to use. I don't want one person to come and just wipe it out. I'm not posting it because I need the money and I need to get rid of stuff. I'm posting it so that people have it available for the Contest of Mayors to check my depot when I'm not on, right? Now, if you have rare items like VU, storage, and dozer, that's what I consider to be the rare items. Airport's rare too, but it's not as sought after. And beach and mountain are really easy to find. But VU, dozer, and storage, okay? If you see those on Global, buy them. I don't care if you need them or not. Just buy them and give them to your group. If you're selling them and you're selling them to the global market, you're out of my club. I kick you out immediately. That is the rudest thing in the world that you can do. To me, when you know that everybody needs those, and to me, there's no reason why anybody should ever sell their rares unless they're maxed out. There's nothing more important to spend your coins on in the game besides the rares. But if you want to do that, that's your prerogative, okay? But as long as you're within my group, you're going to be active and you're going to be a team player, or you're going to be rotated out for somebody who's going to be. And I know that sounds harsh, but you know, we're not here to sit here and make, yes, we're here to make friends and be social, but at the same time, we're all here to play a game, you know? And if you want to be in here to sleep and eat and come on once a day, then this isn't the group for you, you know? So if you are seeing rare items or you have rare items and you know that there's 25 people within your group and you know they all are focused on upgrading their storage, and you take a rare item and you global it, that is like a big fuck you to everybody in your group. That's rude. To me, that is just rude. You know everybody else would have bought it, okay? So help out your teammates or trade them or whatever. I recommend keeping them, but definitely, offer them to your club mates. It's just a respectful thing to do, okay? Like I said, the only time you can close, depots are always up for grabs. The only time you can close your depot is if somebody is doing an epic project. I'll be like, okay, I'm posting stuff for so-and-so's epic. Once their epic is done, then my depot's back up for grabs, right? For the most part, like I said, we have pretty easy, simple rules. And trust me, these rules being followed is a lot easier than having to deal with all of the confusion and annoying bullshit that goes on when you don't follow them. Just trust me on that. And the next part of this video, because I pretty much covered most of the group rules, like all the main things. And this is a whole different thing here. Now, oftentimes you will see people join in that are a little slower than you in general. Like, you can just tell there's something not right about this person, right? Now, I'm not out for belittling people and bullying on them and just calling them names and being mean to them. If you want to have a mature debate on, this is the best item to make versus that or whatever, and if you take my disagreeing with you as belittling, that's not belittling, okay? That's just a debate. That's just us conversating and talking on an intellectual level about the choices within the game and the best way to go about making said choices. However, if you see that somebody is clearly not, all with it, then it's usually one of those things where it's like the elephant in the room that no one talks about. Everybody's thinking it, but nobody says it, Everybody's thinking, what is wrong with this guy? Like, he's not making any sense, or they'll ask you a question like, Missy, should I camp for storage? And you're like, yeah, did you watch my storage video? And they're like, yes. And then they're like, Missy, is going up 5 storage good? And you're like, oh boy, like, what's going on here? Am I talking to a child? Am I talking to an adult? Do they have some kind of mental issues? And typically, yes, they do. And we have had a few people with mental issues where they're slower than others. Now, I don't have the time to give people with that type of need the assistance that they need and the attention that they need. I'm very, very busy, and it makes it harder on me. So I will politely ask them to leave if they are somebody who requires a lot more attention. Now, typically, I'm not going to just boot them out the club just because they're a little slower. What I mean is if they're creating a major issue within the group. Now, I've had a lot of people they're not so great with English. And I had a guy named Fred that was in my group for a really long time. Nobody could really understand him but me. And he was super helpful, and he always posted stuff. And, I liked him. He was a great member, but he was difficult to understand and talk to. And one day when I wasn't on, and like I said, he had been with me for a long time. And one day when I wasn't on, a member got annoyed with the way that he talked, and they just chewed him up and spit him out, and he left and he never came back. And that was just shitty of him to do that. If you know somebody is slower than you, don't do that, okay? But if they're creating a problem within the group, I have to remove them, because I don't have the time to answer the questions that they have. And I don't mean like they're just a little slow. I mean like they're blowing the chat up. I've had somebody recently that has literally blown up my Gmail, my inbox, the chat, and I don't mean 1 or 2 questions or 1 or 2 messages. I'm talking 60, 70 messages. I'm talking this person hasn't slept in 3 days. They've been in the chat every 30 minutes asking for me and asking me the same question over and over and over. Okay? I have to take action on that and go, look, man, I know that you have special needs and I am not the right person to assist you with the help that you need. I can't give you the attention that you require. So I advise people to go into a different group, you know? And I try to do it as nicely as possible because I'm not out to hurt anybody's feelings. Now, if you notice that somebody is slower or whatever, and it's creating an issue for you within the group, I ask that you do not announce it in front of everybody in the group, that you contact me directly through private message and explain, you know, what's going on or whatever. And that way we can work it out and not in front of everybody. You know what I mean? So that typically, you know, it doesn't happen very often, but it does happen. Now, as far as the Looney Tunes that I've come across with the internet, you always hear about some wackos, okay? And there's a couple Looney Tunes I've come across the last fucking couple months playing the game. Let me tell you what. I'm not some big time YouTuber or anything. And, you know, I've never experienced this thing where, you know, people are like hitting me up going, you know, I can't believe I'm talking to a YouTuber. And it's like, I just see me as me. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's all that glamorous, but thank you. But the marriage proposals, man, I mean, that's a little much. And I'm not going to say the person's name. And I know you're watching this, dude, but that was way too beyond ridiculous. Okay. This person drew my name in the roads on their map. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. You know, show support. Cool. You know, lots of people do that. You know, if you're an Eminem fan or whatever, you know, you support the person. That's flattering and great and it's cool and yeah, awesome. But when I go to your city and I see a ginormous roadmap that says my name, I'm like, all right, cool. Like I said, it's all good with me. But when I see a wedding chapel posted on my name and there's nothing else near it, I'm like, what the fuck? I take that as a weird ass thing to do, okay? And when I bring it up to that person and they genuinely, and I'm not playing, you guys. And like I said, I'm not going to say his name because I'm not going to. But he's not in the group anymore, and I know you're watching this, dude. This guy, I shit you not, he proposed to me in the game. And I thought he was kidding. Not gonna lie. When he first messaged me, there was a picture. He was an older guy. And like I said, I talked to so many people, you guys. And it was a thing where it was like, okay, you know, when you're talking to somebody and you save their ass on something and they're like, oh my God, I love you. You know, like, you just saved my ass. I thought that that's what it meant. I thought that that was what he was saying. And he was like, you've taught me a lot about the game, blah, blah, blah. I love you, Missy, blah, blah, blah. I took it just casual as nothing, right? Like any real intellectual, normal human being would. And then I started getting more and more messages that said some really bizarre shit, okay? Like, you know, Missy, I think me and you should be man and wife. And I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I'm saying? And I find out this person has diabetes. Now, I have family with diabetes, and I know that their blood sugar can, you know, go up and they can act cuckoo sometimes. So I took that into account, and I was like, maybe they're just a little cuckoo today, okay? So I let it go. And then it progressed, and it was a full-time thing. And it was like it wasn't just in the game chat, but it was in the messaging system. And this guy, I'm not kidding you, like, would be in the chat and he would be like, did you forget we're getting married? And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? First off, I'm 31 and you're 60, okay? Secondly, hell no. Third, you're fucking nuts, okay? I'm not marrying somebody that I've never met. Especially, I mean, dude, I don't even have words to describe just how ridiculous that is. Okay. And I'm trying to wrap my head around this knowledge, and I'm thinking this dude's screwing with me. You know what I mean? And so he just starts saying really bizarre stuff about like a girl being locked in a box and being able to spread her wings and fly and just weird stuff, right? And all of a sudden he starts talking about how I'm going to sell my house and I'm going to come and live with him, or he's going to come to Washington and he can find work here and just all this crazy crap. You know what I mean? And I'm like, what the hell is wrong with this dude? And when I had mentioned to him, I said, well, I see that you put my name on your map, right? And he's like, yeah. And I said something about the wedding hall. And he's like, yeah, I thought that would be more of like a subconscious hint. And it's like, really? Really? Okay, then. Now, this person comes off to be somewhat intelligent, actually, you know? And what was so bizarre to me was we had an incident in the group with somebody who was slow, a little bit slower. And somebody was mean to that person. And this person, this guy, had gotten very defensive about it and started saying that because he had asked her if she was married, that he was sexually harassing her. Now, I didn't view it that way, okay? Because it wasn't meant that way in any way. But I found it interesting that somebody that would ask me to marry them and act like a cuckoo bird is over here saying how it was inappropriate of somebody else to ask somebody if they were married and that was sexual harassment. How is it that they can identify that with someone else, but they can't see how crazy they are, And I'm just like, what the hell? And I have never in my life experienced somebody quite that crazy, where they think that they genuinely, truly believe that I'm going to marry them. And they're blowing up my inbox and talking all this crazy stuff, and saying weird things like beautiful MissyAnne and your recent popularity. How about that? And it's like, dude, wow. There aren't enough drugs on the planet for me to try to wrap my head around the logic behind that. Okay. It's a terrifying thought to know that there's people out there that roam free with the rest of us that are that insane. Okay. Now, I'm not knocking mental health issues, you know what I mean? But that is just ridiculous. It's creepy, okay? I don't even know what to tell you. Now, I'm trying to be nice and build a community of people and play a game and have this level of understanding, but there are boundaries here, okay? I'm not looking for a date. I'm not looking to get married. I've made a lot of decent friends, on the SimCity game. I want to help a lot of you and all of you sitting at home watching this or whatever. I appreciate, all of the feedback of, like, oh, I love your videos. And that's great. That's awesome. But don't ask me to marry you, you fucking nut. Okay? Dude, really? I mean, come on. I'm like in shock. I need to go and pick my fucking jaw up. It's on the ground over there. Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my head around the logic behind that, okay? Like I said, I appreciate the compliments and the support. It's awesome. Honestly, it'd be great if I could get a little more feedback because I don't get to see my audience's reaction. So I just assume that you're like sitting here next to me like, yeah, this bitch knows how I feel, Like, I don't know. For all I know, you're sitting there going, God damn, shut the fuck up. I don't care. But I know one thing. If you're sitting there thinking, oh, I want to marry this girl. I wonder if she'll marry me. You need a straitjacket. Okay? I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what fantasy land you're living in here. But hell no. All right? So just know that. Hell to the motherfucking no. Not looking for a date. All right? Now, as long as you don't come in here acting like a cuckoo bird we're all good. All right? If you start asking me to marry you, you're going to get the boot. CPT's boot, to be exact, because he is now my personal boot kicker. All right? He's going to screen all the cuckoo birds that come in. And we're going to make sure that, you know, we're good to go, like Law and Order in here. He's like Elliot and I'm like Olivia. We're partners. We're going to do this shit, but there's boundaries, okay? So don't make me stick CPT on your ass, all right? Now, all is well, all is good. If you want to come join the club, we're happy to have you. I think we have 5 slots available, 6 if we boot Lola's feeder, which right now we don't need to because we have some spots available. We end war in 21 hours and 28 minutes, all right? And you guys, I have some upcoming videos that you're going to want to check out. I'm going to be doing a game walkthrough. I'm going to be doing a city design and quite a few others. I haven't released all of the information yet. We also did an updated version of the SimCity production plan. It's not a major change, but I thought that it might make it easier for you guys. So on the chart, there is, when you look at the store, you have the items listed in a specific order, and you have to count the rows to see which item that column belongs to. We have since updated that and put the name next to it so that you no longer have to count, okay? Which just makes things easier, and I think it would make it also easier to just understand in general how the guide works, which I did put a video out about that actually. And yeah, so I'm going to do a walkthrough, and I also have to finish typing up the building plan for level 30 to 61. If you are at that point in the game, let me know. But here's the next thing, and pay attention, okay? So I'm looking to collect quite a few things, actually. I'm just going to put a 5-minute video up about that so that I know that everybody saw it, because it's getting near the end of this video. So I'm going to end this and then check out that 5-minute clip that I'm going to be putting up, okay?